Good morning, all. Students, is my voice is audible? Any one of you, please respond. Is my voice is audible? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Vinepistundi, sir.
Okay. See, so thanks for the patience listening about the pandemic situation of COVID-19. So because of the instructions received from our HOD yesterday, so I took this 10 minutes time for explaining the pandemic situation. See, don't be panicked. Don't be panicked. Try to face the situation, whatever it may be. భయపడమాకండి, ఫేస్ చేయండి ఏదైనా సరే. ఓకే, వచ్చింది అని తెలిసినా ఇబ్బంది ఏం పడద్దు, హ్యాపీగా ఇంట్లోనే క్యూర్ చేసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేయండి. రైట్. సి, once again welcome to our class. Yesterday, yeah, so just 2 days before, we have started Gauss Seidel method and we have explained all the expressions. Yesterday we have solved some problems also. Now again, see, I found two important cases, that means the problems in the Gauss Seidel method. So with those two problems we shall complete this particular Gauss Seidel method of load flow solution. So for that purpose I'm going to explain the content on the whiteboard here. So that's why I'm sharing my whiteboard on my screen. We just go through this. Siva Ganesh, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Now I am muting all the participants. Sorry for the inconvenience. So because to avoid the unnecessary technical problems, this is mandatory for me to mute all the participants. Now again, see, yesterday, uh, that means 2 days back, 2 days back, just wait a moment. Okay, see, 2 days back we have started one problem, and yesterday we have completed that problem by discussing some other different case. That means initially for the 4 bus system, except the slack bus, the remaining buses are PQ bus, and later we have solved one more case, that is how to deal with the same problem if the second bus has been converted to PQ bus to PV bus, right? Now in this case, in today's class, we are going to see one more type of system, but in this particular case, you are not asked to uh, obtain the bus voltage at the end of first iteration or second iteration or third iteration. Okay, you are not asked to stop the iteration. So you need to, so whenever you are facing that type of situations, you need to move on with the first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth, until the tolerance value must be equal to 0.001. This must be very, very important. Okay, so this problem will give you the information regarding that one, right? Please note on this. See, this is a problem, right? So in this particular case, you have been given a two bus system, and for this you are asked to determine the second bus voltage, and he does not mention anything regarding the number of iterations. So this is a system that he has given. Now carefully note down the specifications of what he has given. So this is the first generating station, and where the generation and demand has been given. But while calculating the ith bus voltage, you must have the information regarding the loss powers. P2 plus JQ2, PI plus JQ, all those are loss powers, loss real power and reactive power. Please do remember that, right? So here V1 is equal to 1 at an angle 0. So this is impedance, but we need admittance. Right? So similarly, please note down this problem. 0 plus J1. That means there is no real power generation from the second station, right? See, who is Ram Reddy? Ram Reddy. I don't know whether he belongs to our group or not. Because if he belongs to our group, definitely he must register with his register number. So I'm going to remove that person. Okay, ready one. Right. Now, see, the problem has been completed. Now, this is the given problem, and at each and every stage, he has mentioned the real power generation and the real power demand. Similarly, the first bus. See here, you're having two buses. Bus number one is this one, and this is bus number two. In the in the problem, just wait a moment. Now, please, all of you look at this. SG1 is nothing but the complex power. S represents the complex power at the first generating station. And SD1 is a complex demand. So SG1, already we know that SG1 is equal to PG1 plus PD1. Okay, QG1. Later we will do the derivation in problem. But here, before going to that, first of all, you people have to analyze what is the given data and how to proceed with the uh, Gauss-Seidel method of in this particular problem. You have been not asked to end your problem by solving the Gauss method, the first iteration, or if you consider first iteration or second iteration, etc. He has not mentioned, but in the previous problems, in the problem itself, he has mentioned that at the end of first Gauss iteration, determine the second bus voltage, third bus voltage, and fourth bus voltage. That directly he has given in the problem itself. But in this particular problem, you have been not mentioned anything regarding the number of iterations. So that's why it is your duty to do the calculations until the tolerance value should be equal to 0.001. That is your final intention. So only at that situation you need to end your problem, right? Now see here. What is the first and foremost step? What is the first and foremost step? First step is you need to identify or you need to determine Y bus. So what's the just you directly inspect what is the size of the Y bus? Obviously 2 by 2. Why? Because you have one thing is very clear that to form the Y bus, first of all, you need to identify the number of buses in the system. Suppose it is a 4 bus system, obviously you will have 4 algebraic equations. So definitely the size of Y bus is equal to 4 by 4. Suppose if your system contains 3 buses, obviously the size of the Y bus is 3 by 3. But in this particular case, the system contains only 2 buses. So obviously Y bus is equal to 2 by 2. So first of all, let us determine the Y bus. So how can we obtain the Y bus? So admittance matrix Y bus or Y is equal to Y11, Y12, Y13, sorry, 21, Y22. Now you just see the diagram. Only one impedance has been connected between 1 and 2. So how do we obtain Y11? So the number of admittances connected to that first bus. So how many number of admittances that are connected to first bus? Only one bus or only one admittance, that is minus J2. Now what is Y12? Minus of minus J2, so plus J2. See, everything is clearly mentioned in the problem itself. Don't worry about too much. So that's why before going to start the solution of the given problem, first you try to read the problem once or twice or thrice if necessary, so that you will get some idea how to obtain the Y bus or how to obtain the calculations, right? So in this case, Y21 is also J2, Y22 is nothing but minus J2. Now this is Y bus. Okay. Now already we know that. So in order to calculate the ith bus voltage, Vi should be is equal to 1 by Yii. This is the formula already we know. So the same formula can be utilized for all the values. So Pi minus JQi divided by Vi conjugate minus sigma k is equal to 1 to n should not be equal to I y ik into Vk. right? So this is the formula you are going to use for calculating the second bus voltage. You cannot simply end your problem only by considering the first iterations. You need to consider at least 2 to 3 iterations or 4 iterations if possible, and finally you need to check whether epsilon is equal to 0.001 or not. So how do we calculate that epsilon? So for that purpose already we are having the formula that Vi to the power of r plus 1 minus Vi to the power of r should be less than or equal to epsilon. So this is already we have discussed. Please do remember that. Okay. Now you see here, what about P2 and Q2? So here Pi and Qi are the line loss, transmission line loss, loss power, loss real power and loss reactive power. So how can we obtain loss real power and loss reactive power? See, that is not the Pi is not the generated power, and Pi is not the generated power, and neither it is generated nor demand power. Okay, that is loss power. So how can we obtain that loss power at bus number 1? Now carefully observe this. So P1 is equal to, this is the loss power. So how can we obtain the loss power? Already we know the power balance equation, that is generated power should be is equal to the demand plus losses. So if you take the difference between those two, you will get the real loss power at the first station. So Pg1, what is Pg1 here? 1. Now what is PD1 here? Minus 0.5. So if you take the difference between these two values, obviously you will get a 0.5. Right? So similarly, you can also calculate P2. Which is equal to Eg2 minus PD2. Now what is Pg2? So already it is 0. Now what is PD2? Already is made is 0.5. So 0 minus 0.5 means obviously you will get minus 0.5. Right? Now you have obtained P1 and P2 as 0.5 and minus 0.5. Similarly, you can also obtain Q2 and Q1. That is also important here. Forget about that. You just simply forget about that one. Why? Because see, in this particular case, you are asked to determine the second bus voltage. So that's why we need not concentrate much on the first bus loss real power and reactive power. So obviously, I'm going to have Q2 here. So Q2 is equal to 1 minus 1 0. Now these two are important. So P2 and Q2 are important for substituting these or for calculating the second bus voltage. Okay. Now you see here. So here I am doing the first iteration. So V21 dash is equal to 1 by Y22. One by Y22 multiplied by P2 minus JQ2. Divided by V2 conjugate. V2 0 this is minus Y21 V1 simply. Now first let us check whether all the values are known to you or not. Y22, yes it is known, that is minus J2. Okay. Now P2 is known, P2 is minus 0.5, minus 0. So minus 0.5 minus 0 means you will get only minus 0.5. V2 0. So obviously initially he has not mentioned anything about the initial condition. So that's why assume the flat voltage start, so that V1 is equal to V2 is equal to 1 at an angle 0. So V20 is already known, Y21 is already known, and V1 is already known. So at the end of first Gauss iteration, you will now I'm going to write down the answer. You please note down this. Verify. So today, under any circumstances, we shall complete this problem. Okay. So V2 1 is equal to 1.0198 at an angle of minus 11.31 degrees. Okay. So this is the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss iteration. And we don't want to conclude that this is the correct answer. You don't know. You don't know whether this is correct or not. So if we want to say whether this answer is correct or not, definitely we must go for another iteration, and we are going to determine the difference between the first iteration and the second iteration. If it is satisfies the condition that so it should be less than or equal to epsilon, obviously we can able to say that the answer is final. Okay, but by doing this first iteration, we cannot able to say whether this answer is correct or not, right? So please make a note. Now the second iteration, V22 is equal to, I am writing the formula, you just simply substitute the values. Now in this case, not V20, this is V21 conjugate. Why? Because already we have obtained the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss equation. Simply Y21 V1. Now if you simplify this, you will get 0.9701 minus 14.0. See, after obtaining the second bus voltage at the end of second Gauss iteration, that is 0.9701 we got. Now you take the difference between V21 and V22, and just you verify whether it is equal to epsilon or not. If it is equal to epsilon, means obviously this is the finalized voltage at the end of second Gauss iteration. But if you clearly look at that, 1.0198 minus 0.97 means obviously it should be greater than epsilon. So a problem has not been completed yet. Now the next one is V23. So while doing the calculations for this V23, obviously you can substitute V22 conjugate. That is the only parameter that you are going to change. And you will repeat until the sixth iteration. So at the end of sixth iteration, you will obtain that V26 minus V25 should be equal to epsilon. Definitely you will achieve this condition. That means now this is your second bus voltage. Please verify that. Verify these answers are correct or not. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes time. Please verify that. So meanwhile, I'm going to write down some new topic in the case of Gauss-Seidel method. accelerating factors. See, just go through the problem and do the problem. So I will tell you the answer. V26 is equal to 0.96594 at an angle of minus 14.9962. That is a finalized answer. You please verify that whether this is correct or not. Now you see here. So I don't know how many of you have solved. Just see, listening a theory subject is easy, but listening of the problematic subject is somewhat difficult. So problematic subject means you have to practice the problem along with me. Okay. Listening of the problem is not correct in my point of view. You won't get any knowledge. So that's why I'm giving you some time for calculating those values. So most of the 90% of the students are just listening my teaching. Just they are only listening my teaching, even though they don't bother about whether that is a theory subject or that is a problematic subject. In their point of view, both theory as well as problematic subjects are same. The basic disadvantage of having the problematic subjects is, if your answer is correct, obviously you will get full marks. If your answer is wrong, we won't award the marks for your procedure. Just we are going to see your answer along with the procedure. Then only we will give you full marks. Otherwise, nil, 0 marks. You will get 0. That is the only disadvantage or drawback of the problematic subjects. But that is not in the case of theory subjects. Even though you have write 2 to 3 lines, definitely we will award 1 or 2 marks, irrespective of the total marks. That is the big difference between the theory as well as problematic subjects. Please try to understand. This is completely derivative expressions, full of derivatives, expressions as well as the problems, right? Now please next give a heading, accelerating factors. Now, what is the need of acceleration? What is the need of acceleration? So in the general way, if we think about accelerators, so almost 90% of the students are having bikes. So definitely bike or a car or whatever it may be, moving vehicle contains accelerator. What is the need of accelerator there? In order to accelerate the device, to move fast from one place to another place. But how we are going to relate the same acceleration to these power systems? Why? Because the initial Gauss method or Gauss Seidel method contains so many iterations. So it requires so many iterations to complete or to compute. Okay, it requires so many iterations, or it requires large number of iterations to produce the required result at the end of that Gauss Seidel method. So just now we have seen that. So just now we have seen that in order to produce or in order to give the result at the second bus, obviously it may take 6 iterations. 6 iterations. But whenever the system becomes larger or it is too complex, obviously that requires more number of iterations to compute the required result or to give the required result. So in that particular case, we need to accelerate. That means we are going to use the accelerating factors to reduce the number of iterations, right? So the number of iterations are reduced considerably if the correction in the voltage at each bus is multiplied by some constant, the multipliers. Accomplish this improved convergence is called accelerating. See, what is the accelerating factor here? So every time we are going to change the magnitude of voltage just by multiplying that with an accelerating factor alpha to have the proper convergence. So here alpha is nothing but an accelerating value. So that is given by 1.2 to 1.6. You can take any value in between this 1.2 to 1.6. If he has not mentioned anything regarding the accelerating factors, but you are insisted to consider the accelerating factor. That is the case here. Okay. వాడు ఏమి ఇవ్వలేదనుకోండి 1.2 తీసుకుంటాం మనం బట్ ద permissible limits are 1.2 to 1.6. You can take any value if he has not given. Don't worry about that. So the formula or the correction that has to be done for the voltage is given by Vi to the power of r plus 1 accelerated value of ith bus voltage at the rth iteration. So that should be equal to the previous iteration plus alpha multiplied by the difference between these two. Please note down this. So here alpha is nothing but an accelerating value. So alpha is nothing but an accelerating value, and that's value is given by 1.2 to 1.6. 1.2 to you can take any value if he has not mentioned, so you default by default, but you need to assume that one. So alpha is not given, so assume alpha is equal to 1.2. Then you can follow the answer. Okay. So tomorrow we will see one more problem related to this accelerating factors. Right. So that's all for today. If you have any doubts regarding this today's topic, you please ask your doubts. If you have any doubts, please just raise your hands.